morning and welcome to another presentation or demonstration of StraytWay. StraytWay is a navigation app I wrote myself, originally for hiking or biking or even sailing, but now I added some features so it can be used for aeronautical navigation of VFR navigation, of course. So I'm gonna demonstrate it today with a flight from, and let's see where we are on the map. Just click here. So we're in StraytWay. So click on the map, on that button, and then we'll center on the current position, and then zoom in using the buttons. You cannot pinch in StraytWay, and there's a good reason for that. You achieve higher accuracy, zoom in accuracy if you want. So there we are, on the runway, ready to depart in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas Airport. StraytWay gives all highly detailed information for the airport, even well, whatever you need to know, except for the places, the parking places, the names, they are not marked, but for instance the taxiways and the runway names, they are marked. Good. So today we're going to fly to an airport at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So it must be somewhere over here. You cannot actually type in the name of a location in StraytWay. You have to look for the location on the map, like on an old school map. And just follow this road. The airport is at the end of the road. This is the Grand Canyon. So this is where we'll be heading to. And we're gonna land from the south to the... sorry, from the north to the south. That's what the wind says. And the way we're gonna do that is... how are we gonna enter the runway into StraytWay? Well, it's with a kind of hack, because the StraytWay has a route function, or a route function. I don't know how you pronounce it, because it's hiking app basically. So you can enter waypoints. What we're gonna do is use those waypoints to define the runway, and we do that by runway is defined by its two ends, its two thresholds. So zoom in on the threshold and just put in a marker. You do that by clicking on this button. And there you are. And then the other end of the runway. Click the button again, and now we've got two markers. The only thing we need to do now is to add those markers as waypoints to a route which will consist only of two waypoints. Now, it's important that you identify the marker that is active, the threshold that is active, and then the other one is the non-active threshold. With active I mean the one you're gonna fly over when you land. So in this case, because we're landing from the north to the south, this marker will be the active threshold and this will be the inactive threshold. So we're gonna add these two markers to the route, but it's important that you start with the inactive threshold. So you select the marker for the inactive threshold. You do that by clicking in its vicinity, like so. Now this button has appeared, and that adds the marker to the route. So there you go. First waypoint added, and now go to our active threshold. Click in the vicinity, select it, and add the waypoint. And that's it. Now the runway is entered into StraytWay in the form of a route. We can calculate a course and calculate the direction and the distance and all that stuff. And the last thing we need to do is to get the elevation of the airport. And we can also derive that from StraytWay. Just change the map, like so. Now we have the elevation contour map. If you zoom out, so you actually see the Grand Canyon slithering its way through the mesas, cutting its way. The airport is really at the edge of, at the rim, at the south rim. Now, look for an elevation line that cuts through the runway, and like this one, and it says an elevation of where did it go? That's so after chart 1460. So, but that's in meters, because OpenStreetMap, the map source of StraytWay, is metric. So it's in meters, 1,460 meters. But no panic. StraytWay has a VFR calculator, and you open that by clicking opening the navigation screen, and then making sure we are at 2, so the last waypoint. Activate this. Make sure this is activated. And then last thing you need to do is click on this. Okay, so those are 3 things. This activates the CDI needle, and this reverses the course, and then this icon has appeared. Yeah, it's protected in that way that you're always sure before you start doing calculations that you've entered those 2 waypoints, and that you're in the CDI mode, and that you've reversed the course, and then only the icon appears. Click on it, and now we have our elevation. That's from a previous, so it remembers your previous, it's from a previous flight. It was almost the same. So 1460 meters. And the pattern altitude above ground level will be 1,500 feet. That probably will be the same for all your flights, unless it's very mountainous. You may want to change that to 2,000 or 3,000 or something. But that's pretty standard, so let's keep it at 1,500. So this is in meters, this is in feet, and then calculate, and now you've calculated the elevation of the runway, but this time in feet, and the altitude, MSL, of the pattern. And it has also calculated the length of the runway, because it can calculate the distance between the 2 markers. And that's our current altitude provided by your phone, GPS, which should match what we have here. And what you know, because we've set the barometer, we've chosen the setting, that's the barometer setting today, and it's exactly the same. So that's perfect. Now we need to go to. We've done that. Don't need to save. You can close it. Ignore the pattern altitude. That's because we're not yet airborne. And we're good to go, basically. Oh yeah, you're not flying straight to the airport. We are stopover at Hoover Dam, and so our waypoint will be on the way. We're going to do some sightseeing. We're not going to land at Hoover Dam, so we need to find Hoover Dam, and that's must be on the road somewhere. I think it's here. This is by the Colorado River. You can see the dam here. There you go, Hoover Dam in all its glory. Just put another marker there, So our third marker. But no, don't make it a waypoint, just keep it as a marker. And once we've put it on the map, it's there, so you don't have to look for it anymore. And what we're gonna do now, our target is set to, with this button you go to the target, where our target is set. And with this you go to our current position, so you can switch between the two. Toggle. And this is setting the target, so if you set it somewhere else. But if you go to 2, it goes automatically to waypoint number 1 and then to waypoint number 2, which is our threshold. But now we're going to set the target to Hoover Dam. How do we do that? Just select the marker, click in the vicinity, it centers, and now put your target there. So if you go to our navigation screen, our target points to Hoover Dam, and it's 24.7 nautical miles at a true bearing of 117 degrees. StraytWay works with a true bearing. I'm going to show that. So we're all set, I think. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly over the Hoover Dam at cruise altitude. We're going to back resort to our VFR calculator. Remember, this was 6,290. We're going to make that 6,300, and we're going to enter that as a selected altitude in our Cessna citation. Yes, we're in a Cessna citation. Hold on, I'll show you. There we are. It's just that's Vegas in the backdrop, and that's our plane for the day. It's always nice to see the plane. So we're going to set our target here to 6,300. Again, you derive that from the barren altitude in the VFR calculator of StraytWay. Yeah, so if you're wondering why the barometer is saying exactly the standard altitude, well, I set the weather that the barometer, and also there's also no wind, just that the navigation part of StraytWay is filtered out, but it should work just as fine with wind, but it's just to have a standard environment, and that's why it's at 10:13. Good. Programming the autopilot, which will be easy because we're not going to use the navigation part of the Garmin suite of the autopilot, but just the flying part, so to speak. So flight level change, our speed is pretty standard for the citation, 230. And then our heading, activate, and set it to activate arm, and set the bug to runway heading. Now if we go back to the map, so this is our target line, and that points to, not yet, what happened? Oh yeah, we switched again to, so you can only get the VFR calculator when your target line is set to the number 2, so to the threshold you're going to fly over. Otherwise it's not available, so because we changed we have to reset it to, there you are. So we're going to fly to Hoover Dam, but our shortest turn would be to the right. Turning to the right, but we're going to turn to the left because then we'll fly over Las Vegas, which is more dramatic. Good. We're all set. And laps 1. Release brakes. and trim is set at full power. There we go. I will rotate at 110. There we go. Positive rate of climb, gear up, and flaps up. And immediately autopilot activated. And we're on autopilot, so we can have a look around. So we'll be turning, watch the yellow arrow, so we'll be turning to the left, so we'll fly over Las Vegas. Make our turn to the left. And reduce power a bit. There we are.
Altitude.
There's Las Vegas. Turn some more, so we are turning using the heading bug. And we set the... take a look at the arrow, so we'll approximately put in the same angle with the heading bug on the compass rose of the Cessna. So we adjust continuously until so it's a bit of guessing, and you don't need to subtract or add or take into account magnetic variation or deviation. Just use StraytWay and the heading bug of the Cessna to go there, but use StraytWay as your guidance. And as planned, we're flying over Las Vegas. There we are. Why don't we just deliberately fly over the and we'll go for the Hoover Dam later on, just for fun, because we're going approximately to the Hoover Dam. And this is where we are. This is our belly camera. That's the Stratosphere Hotel, I suppose. And that's the Strip with Bellagio and the MGM. That's New York, New York. And the I don't know what the pyramid is called again. And there's McCarran Airport. So we're flying over McCarran. I think the cross-shaped building is the MGM. Nice. Yeah, the green one. And that's New York, New York, and that's the Strip. That's the Strip. Okay, so much for sightseeing in Las Vegas. And let's over to, unless you want to see McCarran International Airport. This is where you land. You fly in from the big cities or abroad. Let's head over to the cockpit. Sorry. Now, Hoover Dam is to the left, so we're gonna watch the bug. We just estimate visually the same angle, like so. and we'll do the fine-tuning later. There you go. So this was just estimated on site, guessed on site, and what you know, we're just 1 degree off. Wow, that's nice guessing. Right on target. So we're flying straight 89, almost straight to the Hoover Dam, which will be there in 3 minutes. That's 50 nautical miles. And this is our speed over the ground, and the white speed is speed made good, but because we're flying almost straight to our target, it's almost the same as speed over the ground, but always lower or equal. And speed made good is always lower or equal than our speed over the ground. Yeah, but there's no auto thrust on the Cessna citation because of all the talking. We don't watch our instruments, but this is not a flight instruction video and not even a Microsoft Flight Simulator instruction video. It's a StraytWay instruction video. There you go. And Hoover Dam should be straight ahead. We are now 6 degrees off, so what we're gonna do is gonna zoom in on the heading bug, just step 6 degrees to the right in the Cessna. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. It's got 5 in the meantime. Sorry, sir. Okay, sorry. No, 3 times sorry. I thought I made a mistake, but I thought I turned to the wrong way, but no, it's okay. We're going straight to 2 more. 1, 2 to the right. Watch the green or the teal 91 should turn to 93. 6 nautical miles. Let's switch to our belly camera. The Hoover Dam should be right ahead of us, and that's indeed the inlet of the for the turbines. And is there some sightseeing to do for the rest? We switch to the map. You see us move here, and Boulder City is to the right of us. So that must be Boulder City. That must be Boulder City. Or Boulder. And that's US 93. Winding its way all the way to cross the Hoover Dam, which is appearing. There it is. To Hoover Dam. And it looks like we had an earthquake because the bridge has collapsed. Well, an earthquake in Microsoft Flight Simulator, that is. There's Hoover Dam, so StraytWay brought us dead on target. Now the little chime you hear is the StraytWay telling us that we've reached our target. There you go. Look at the arrow, so we're past our target. It's now behind us. And gonna switch to our outside view. It's always for dramatic that you can do in a real airplane, of course. We are using a Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's easier than showing it in a real airplane because, well, it's not meant for a flight simulator, so I wrote a little connection app between the two. But you can't use it in Microsoft or any flight sim. You have to use it in a real plane StraytWay. So it's just a simulation. Now we're gonna fly to our airport, and we're gonna do that by switching to here, clicking on this. There's no danger for the mountains. 2, till we are 2, and now the arrow points to our threshold, and the magenta line is the center line of the threshold, and this is the distance to the center line in 90 degrees, in a 90-degree angle. So perpendicular, I think it's the name. The perpendicular line to the center line, and we're gonna fly because the CDI needle is at this side, so we're somewhere here. So we're gonna do a right-hand pattern because we're flying VFR, a right-hand pattern. So we're gonna just fly to the threshold, but as soon as we arrive at a distance of go back to our calculator. This shows the descent distance you're gonna need when you start from the pattern altitude. This is final approach fix, so that's at a pattern altitude. It'll take you at a 3-degree glide slope, 4.7 nautical miles. So we're gonna circle and a bit more, give us some safety margin, like 5 or 6 nautical miles. We're gonna circle the threshold. First we're gonna fly parallel, and once we've reached this point we'll start circling, so we can get to this point, and then we'll turn to final. It's not really the boxed pattern of a bus, but we're gonna do it circling. So our base will be base leg will be kind of curved until we reach this point, but it amount to the same. But it's the easiest way to get altitude and stuff right without ever needing to look at the airport. Just gonna use StraytWay, though it is a VFR demonstration. Oops. Disturbance in the force. We're 3 degrees off, so we're gonna adjust that a little bit. We need to turn 3 degrees to the left. 1, 2, 3. So the 93 should drop to 90. And I think to see here, that's Lake Mead, an extension of Lake Mead, which enters through there, I think. Now, if we got some time to show you, I suppose you would like to go to London. Fly to London. And suppose you had really huge magical fuel tanks. Here we are. Just put your target there. Put your target there. And now you see our target line, which follows the great circle. Straight line is a circle on a Mercator projection map. It follows a curve. So if you go to our navigation, London is at 4,500 nautical miles, and at this now you can see the difference between ground speed and speed made good. So we're flying, we're tracking 90 degrees towards the airport, but we are approaching London at a speed of 110 nautical miles, because London is that way. Now at 110 knots, sorry, at 110 knots we'll be there in 1 day and 16 hours. If we had, of course, if I would turn to the left, we're not going to do that because we're flying to the airport. Then this will drop. And why does it say days? Because StraytWay can also be used when you're sailing, and then trips of more than 24 hours are perfectly possible. So that's why it has a day calculator in your estimated time en route. Why can you go sailing, even cross an ocean with a StraytWay? Because all the maps that you see, so anything you see when you have internets, like we zoom in on Florida, everything you see is loaded into the memory of your phone in the form of a picture. So we're at zoom level 10. If you zoom out, it's another zoom level, so it's another picture. But what you see is literally what you get on your phone. It's stored in the cache memory of your phone, and it stays there till you delete StraytWay, or till you actively delete the cache memory of your phone. So in theory, it'll work in the middle of the ocean if you have internet when you're on shore, and then you move to the middle of the ocean, you'll still have this map. And especially this big map, because that's almost always everything is loaded into. So if you see the map, it's loaded in there. Everything is there. Is in there. Okay. So we've been now completely lost. Just go to our position. There we are. And now our target. We were going to London, back to the threshold of the runway, number 2. 1, 2. We're at 18 nautical miles, so it's that easy. So, back to our approach. We're gonna... So 4.7. As soon as this distance gets to 4.7, but make it 5 or 6, then we're gonna start flying parallel to the runway, to the center line of the runway. And then just follow that distance, and if we pass the threshold here, we'll start circling at the same distance. Literally circling the threshold. That's the best way to do this in Australia. There's mountains ahead, and the Cessna has a elevation, a terrain GPS map. I don't think we're gonna pass that one. That'll be necessary. We would be able to make it at this altitude. So we're at pattern altitude. That's why it says pattern altitude. That's the altitude we want to be on when we're doing our pattern work, our approach. So we're already there. No need to descend. So watch this. When this turns to 6, we'll start initiating our turn to the left, and that will be probably before we hit those mountains. We're not going to hit them, but it's not too safe to fly over them. Or perhaps just... No, we should be fine. If you can trust the color coding in the maps, if we stay at this altitude, If it's red in the citation, you're gonna hit it. If it's yellow, it's a danger, but it's just green, so we should be fine. So we'll probably gonna fly over them. The airport must be dead ahead of us. Gonna increase our speed a bit because we're still way too slow. We don't have an auto thrust, so with all the talking, you have to watch out for the speed to drop. 8, so we're gonna turn to the left. Just estimate the magenta angle. Look at that, we're just over the ridge. Wow. It's close, but I'm sure you would be doing that in real life. Perhaps you would choose a higher altitude. Now, because we're nearing our threshold, it already gives a descent rate and a slope decrease for our approach. But of course, that's not yet of any meaning. We're not gonna land yet, but it already gives that. So moving away, that's because the yellow arrow now points more than 90 degrees. So we're moving away from our threshold. No sense in calculating a descent slope. Okay, nice. Flying perfectly parallel to the runway. Well, perfectly. Eventually, we'll be flying perfectly parallel to the runway. There we are. So at 7, yeah, that's a good. We'll start now. Turn to the right till the yellow arrow makes right angles with our direction of movement. So with the top of the compass rose. Not too aggressively. Well, in the beginning perhaps yes, because we need to get that angle at that yellow arrow at 90 degrees angle. So that's gonna make us circle our threshold. And our speed, with all that talking, it's time to reduce our speed to under flap speed. Now we're approaching flap speed already. Now, when the magenta figure drops to 2 nautical miles, the CDI needle will start moving, and then we need to flaps 1, stabilizing, and then we'll need to turn aggressively onto our final approach course. We're almost there. 2 nautical miles. Yeah, needle starts moving, and turn aggressively all the way to our final approach course. And that should put us right on track on our finals. We should get the that's the Grand Canyon. Wow. We're almost perfectly because there is the airport. The airport should be somewhere. Oh, there it is. We're a bit off. So we're still to the right of our Turning to the right. We now have a descent angle of 2.3. When it turns green, that means we can voila, like so. So we can disengage autopilot, full flaps, full gear. And we can fly manually from now, so it's a bit wobbly, suddenly. Just trimming the plane. It says 3.3, so it's green. We're not too high. B is perfect, but 3 is okay. 800 feet, and we are 1,000, so we're gonna drop under our look at the Grand Canyon. We'll try and go for 3 degrees. There you go. We're gonna drop through it, so increase our power. Okay, back. And that's the Grand Canyon. Wow. Afraid to watch because we have to fly the airplane. We're good. We're almost perfectly on 3 degrees. Couldn't be more perfect. The alignment is a bit off, but hey, let's not complain. We're a bit low, that's why it turns red, but we're fine. It's a pretty narrow runway. Speed brakes. And full brakes. And flaps up. There we are. StraytWay welcomes you on Grand Canyon West, I think it's called. And now we're on the runway. We're gonna stop on the runway. Something you can never do in real life, of course, because we're gonna demonstrate the taxi abilities of StraytWay. So let's go to the map. And they can see us here on the runway. I'm gonna do away with the route. If you click on this, then the route, there's only one route. You cannot store multiple routes in StraytWay, because yeah, that's done for simplicity reasons, and also you cannot make a mistake in routes. But it stays on your phone. The next time you start up, the route is still there, but there's only one route, so you don't need to name it. This deletes the route. Yes, but if you want to delete the markers, then the route is also automatically deleted. It says so. So now everything that we put in is clean, so to speak, and so you can see the runway. And suppose we wanted to go to taxi to this point, and then to this point, and then we go to this point, and then we want to go to terminal A6 or taxi points here. Just make a little route out of it. So add this one first, add, then this one. Sorry. Add, and then this one. Now you've got a mini route, just go to the first waypoint. So now you're taxiing to the first waypoint. Perhaps also change the units, because now we're showing nautical miles, and perhaps better to have yards. This is meters and this is yards and statute miles. Let's go for the yards, and now it's in yards. So if we start moving, the yellow arrow should point to our backs, because now it's still using the compass of when you're stationary. It uses StraytWay uses the compass of your phone. So if you move your phone, so it's not really accurate, but as soon as you start moving, it will calculate the make its calculations using your GPS data. So you will see that now. So we start moving. And there you go. We do away with this, we don't need that. And now you can see that where we want to go is behind us. It's no longer behind us because the auto sequencer is activated. So the I'll show you this little hand here. If you click on it, then the auto sequencer is deactivated. So it's yellow, it's deactivated. Then you have to change the waypoints manually. It was automatic, so because we are moving away from the waypoint, we had it set on 1. It automatically switches to 2 and then to 3. So we need to keep that in mind. That's why when you're in the air, keep it to manual, because it won't change without you knowing it. So you have to turn here to the right. We're in manual. So we're in manual. Gonna go to the screen again. And change to 1. There you go. Now the blue arrow it points to the second waypoint. So we're going to waypoint 1. The blue arrow points to waypoint 2. So you know how to make your turn to the left or to the right. And that will become apparent now. So we're going to the yellow arrow. That's where we have to turn to the left. And it's 73 yards between the yellow arrow and the blue waypoint. Yellow waypoint and the blue waypoint. That stays fixed, of course. Hit the brakes because there's a delay because of the simulation, but normally there is not such a delay, so it's much more immediate, the distance. Now there's a bit of a delay, so we have to anticipate that. So it's here. Watch the blue arrow. It points to number 2, waypoint number 2. So this is our turn-off point. At 35, yeah, it takes a very long time to. It's 23 yards from our point, but that's so we need to turn to the left here. And now it's gonna switch automatically to 2. There you go, because it's automatically sequencing. And immediately we have to turn to the right. So we have to turn here to the right, because we want to go to A6, if I remember that correctly. And there we are. And that's normally there should be lines here, but this Airport is not fully developed. 40-30 yards. So A6 must be somewhere here, but it's not drawn in Microsoft Flight Simulator, so it must be to the left where we should park. Why don't we do that? There we are. I'm gonna park here. So here we are at Grand Canyon Airport, and hope you found it useful. You learned a bit more about StraytWay, and see you next time for another demonstration. So bye-bye.